Hey guys, welcome back. Build it big with City Skylines. This is episode 35. I'm Enigmius, and today we're picking up where we left off in the last episode, except we've done a little bit since then because it was some stuff that we had to do that was of the finicky type, and I just wanted to get it done and out of the way so that we can move on and get back to the business of growing our city. The last episode we put in our passenger harbor and our cargo harbor, so we got cruise ships. There's one of them there. We'll get down and take a look. We got a cruise ship. They come and go from this harbor, and then we've got the cargo harbor that has these kinds of cargo ships, and they come and go. We've got the switchback that we made in the last episode, goes back and forth for vehicles leaving the harbor, and then we've got the highway that comes in this way and gives vehicles access to the harbor itself. It seems to be working quite well. Actually, we'll just kind of start it and let this go slow-mo for a little while so you can see. Definitely a lot of traffic coming and going. Once everything had a chance to kind of figure out that there was something new that the trucks, the industrial freight wanted to go to, and it started working its way over to here. It started working quite well, and the traffic has been pretty good in this particular area because we gave lots and lots of room for it to do what it needs. You can see it's backing up a little bit here because I think it's kind of full of vehicles. There's just so many vehicles trying to get in there. We might do an overflow somehow, somewhere, at some point in the future, but for now, pretty happy with the way it's going. The ships don't stay long, which is kind of interesting. Similar thing down here, only in this case, we're not worried so much about accommodating the industrial traffic. We're worried about a certain amount of passenger traffic. We've got our metro station right here. I haven't run a bus line out here yet because it's just like one great big long ass bus trip all the way out here with one stop, and then it turns around and goes back up here somewhere. I'm gonna wait until this area is filled in, or this area is filled in, or maybe even both, and then we'll get the bus line set up in here. So in the meantime, we've got these passenger tunnels that go underneath and around so that theoretically pedestrians could avoid this crosswalk if they wanted to. They don't, though. They still use the crosswalk because it's the shortest way to get from the metro station to the entrance, which is right here of the building. So that's kind of what they do. But for the time being, at least it's an option again in the future. You can see there's not a lot of traffic here. I'm not too worried about it. We just want to get it into place, and then it'll kind of sit there and take up money and be there when it's actually useful, which might be soon, might not be. Now, in order to get all this working, and this is where the finicky bit came in, is we had to manage the traffic, and specifically we had to manage the truck traffic getting to and from the cargo harbor. You can see down here we've got our highway, and it's quite busy as highways go. It's a very long route. This is our braided traffic circle that we made in the asset manager. I did a video spotlight on it. If you want to download it, it's available. You can find it listed somewhere in the playlist for the Skylines video series. And the trucks just kind of go in and around and then back in and then up and down and all over the place. Never really see too much of a backup here as a result of all the twisting and turning that they do, but it's kind of interesting to watch for a little while. The big thing is over here, and I could never plan this in a million years, but this started out with, you can see we've got a bit of a backup here. And there's really not a whole lot for it right now because it's all crossing this intersection and going up that way, and it's just so damn slow. But maybe if we see it backing way the hell back up there, we'll do something about it. But for now, it's fine. It's just fine. I ended up adding this new bridge here, basically connecting from our stadium all the way across to get the industrial traffic that was coming from our industrial areas faster onto the highway in this way, because previously they were going through this braided small traffic circle that we did, which is just hilarious and nearly useless but fun to watch. And then they would go along this way, and then they would get snarled up in here, and then they would come down here and they'd get snarled up in here, and then they'd get back onto the highway and have a straight shot to the harbor. So what I wanted to do was bypass a lot of that snarl ups. As you can see, they're just completely jammed up. Let's speed it up and see if it goes away before I can finish explaining what we did here. So we've got the shorter route, and you can see the trucks. It's just a row of trucks coming across the bridge, and then they can bypass all of this stuff right here and come right around and down onto the highway to the cargo area. And same for the industrial vehicles coming down this way along the highway. If they want, they can bypass all of this stuff down here, go up the off-ramp here, and then down and around, and it's the same thing. So it actually works really well. You're not really able to see it because of this nonsense that's happening down here, and I don't really, it's just a lot of vehicles that are trying to use this intersection, and there's not much I can do about it for now. Like I say, if we see it backed all the way up over to here, then we know we have a problem. For now, we've got a little bit of congestion along here, but it's not horrible. It's manageable for the time being. We'll just keep an eye on it as time goes on, and if we have to make changes, we can. So that puts us in a spot where we can we've got the cargo stuff set up. The traffic is managed relatively well. We can just kind of set up a little bit of stuff here and respond finally to some of the demand here, which is primarily for commercial and residential. And I kind of want to build out this area a little bit. What I want to avoid, now that we've got so many different things scattered all over the damn place, we've got stuff here, here, up here, over here, and then we got this area up here that we still have to do stuff with, is I just want to focus on one area at a time as best I can and build it out. And if it's necessary to focus on another area for a little while, we can do that, but primarily I want to focus on one area at a time and kind of get things taken care of properly. So this is going to be fairly straightforward. You can see here the water coverage for our city is pretty damn good. For the next, like, this whole area here has already got full water coverage. We don't have to worry about anything like that. We do have to keep an eye on our power and also the volume of water that we're using. Everything is covered, but it's not going to be long before we're not processing enough sewage and we're not providing enough clean water. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But realistically speaking, this area here is just crying out for high-density residential all day long. It's going to be sort of like an extension from the beachfront properties, just kind of pushing back into the city, and then it'll eventually peter off into kind of the lower density stuff, keeping the rest of the industry well satisfied with their particular lot in life. Now, I kind of want to not waste all this space in here, so we're going to bring in just a little bit of a road, two-way and down one and across, then we'll bring it across. Yeah, see, I don't want it to wreck the stuff that's already there, which it didn't. That's good. Sometimes it does. It'll just decide that it wants the tiling that we just added to overwrite the tiling that's here, and then it just wrecks stuff. It's a little bit disappointing when that happens, but we've avoided any kind of catastrophe, and then we can put the high-density commercial in here, and we'll do some a little bit of high-density commercial here and here, some high-density residential. Do we want to put that, or we better extend that a little bit as well, just to make use of the space, because what eventually happens in games like this is you run out of space, and then in order to get anything else to squeeze the last little bit of growth out of your cities, you end up having to go back and rezone a bunch of stuff just to get more people out of the same amount of space, kind of thing. So leaving big open areas unused is just begging to be a problem later on when you're coming back and looking for what you can sort of optimize a little bit to get more out of it. And we can just let that go and see what happens to the demand. We didn't zone a lot of commercial. I want to be a little bit careful about how much commercial we're zoning, because it's one of those things that just, it looks like people want a lot, and then you get one high rise and they're done. They're like, well, we've got plenty of places to shop, we're good for now, no more please. If you do place any more, we aren't going to use it. So you can see right now we're getting good use out of the residential area. We're getting not any use whatsoever out of the residential area up here, and that's fine, because this is the kind of thing, it's not a ton of space that we've pre-allocated for residential, and people can kind of grow into it as they go. But what we can do, because we have these spots here, is we can do the full high density commercial in the middle of these areas. We've already taken care of the fire, the medical, all the other things that we might need. Actually, before I make that claim, we should probably take a look and make sure we've got oh yeah, we've got a burner. We've got the people incinerator. where might we put another one? We don't want to necessarily put one across the street from the stadium, but then again, we were talking about having gladiator games at the stadium in the last episode. Maybe this is just what the doctor ordered, is keep things nice and tidy. We can have the incinerator doing what the incinerator needs to do full time right beside the gladiator games. No, I don't think we'll do that. I think we're pushing our luck. We'll close this and we'll see. Things are growing in. The demand is shifting. The commercial demand really hasn't changed, so that's good. At least we're taking our time and zoning it in appropriately so that if things do kind of start to go a little bit wonky, we can correct it. And that means we can come over here rather than doing all kinds of crazy stuff with more commercial stuff. We can do less crazy stuff with commercial stuff. I will do that. Hopefully those will build some high rises around the highest of high rises. That would be kind of neat. And then we'll just put some lower density stuff in there. Why not? Oh, I can hear the upgrades. Everyone's happy with the way things are going, or so it would seem. Now I want to kind of take another look at our unique building opportunities, because we're kind of using up the ones that we're getting, which is good. Disconnected power grids, what are you talking about? Oh, look at this, all the dead people. We were just talking about that. We said, no, we're fine. We don't need more capacity for dead people. And then immediately, all the dead people are like, yes, you do. We're going to stick this right over here. There we go. Right next to the gladiator games. That should take care of our dead people problem fairly quickly. We have to wait for the hearses to get out there and do their magical thing, picking up all the dead bodies, but it'll happen. Hopefully. People are going to be very upset. Back to the unique buildings that were available to us. Taking a look at what we've already built. The Opera House is one that we could place. 135,000, 1,600 per week. Or this one, the Science Center. We don't want to do too much thinking stuff out this way, because people will get upset that they learned too much and now they can't get a job. We got Sea and Sky skyscraper. We got a passenger harbor and a thing. Noise pollution 25, cost 20,000, upkeep 320 a week. Yeah, I think we should put that somewhere over here, because it's not very big. It's not going to be in the way. It's not going to overeducate our oil rig workers, our oil derrick workers, and our tree farmers. It's also going to have a trivial impact on the leisure. Look at the... Oh no, I see. It's got a much larger green circle than the small yellow one. That's the super boost. Just to kind of take a look at what we've got here. Let's put it right here. It's good traffic coverage. It'll reach a number of places like so. These guys not really too concerned about the leisure. That's okay. The Modern Art Museum, 130,000, 1040 a week. We can put that down here. We don't want it too close to the gladiator games. If for no other reason than, you know, we're wasting kind of coverage. All the things that we could be using to keep people happy and drive up the property value, and we're jamming them all in one spot indiscriminately. Let's stick it down here. Right like so. That's not the greatest, but it's not bad. These people here can take advantage of it to some extent. What else have we got? Just the Science Center and the, what is it? The Opera House. Let's do the Science Center up here. Actually, maybe we should hold off, unless we can fit it here. That thing is friggin' enormous. Look at the size of it. It's like, we can't put it next to anything because it just won't fit. It's a little bit too close to that, and we don't necessarily want... Actually, maybe maybe down here, if we could make it fit. It's still plenty of room between that and this guy here. I think we're rushing it. We're trying to jam it in there for the sake of jamming it in there, and that's just not good advice most of the time. I have to say, that goes in many areas of life. It's just not good advice. Although these people down here are definitely complaining about a lack of appropriate leisure activities. I'm gonna probably regret that, because it's just this wee little road, and then this crossroad. It's not gonna have a lot of traffic handling capability. What the hell is going on down here? Why are these bodies not getting picked up? That's... There's no reason, or is there a reason? Okay, first let's get rid of this, because every time I move my mouse cursor, it wants to pop up, and I don't want it to pop up. So it's trying to tell me that this guy here, and actually now most of the skulls have gone away. Oh, these two guys here are also not getting picked up by this guy here. And this guy is saying 7 of 7 hearses are in use. We've got some storage, and we seem to be mostly on top of the demand. It's just we're not getting the bodies picked up. It might take a little while to filter through. Could be kind of the thing that we're having. Yeah, it's kind of they got to work their way over to here. Maybe what we could do to help them out is extend the road a bit. When it comes to the dead people and their impact on the city and how people start to complain, like, blah, there's too many dead people in my living room, I kind of like to deal with it as promptly as I can. Look at the traffic starting to pick up all around here now. Holy cow. That is just crazy. Absolutely crazy, but we're making progress. This is exactly what we wanted. Now the residential demand is back up. We can zone a little bit more. Look at this guy. He's just waiting to be the next high-rise condominium project. In the next episode, we're going to carry on. We're going to basically go with what the demand wants. We're going to focus on educated workers now. I think we've got plenty of opportunity over here to provide work for uneducated workers. We don't need to be focusing on providing those opportunities for them. We want to educate people and get them into the better jobs, because quite frankly, keeping everyone dumb is kind of a pain in the ass. So the next episode will be out probably in the next 2 or 3 days. If you want to be notified when I add that episode, you can always follow me on social media. Links for that are in the information box below the video, or you can just subscribe to my channel and get notifications that way. Please leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.